Hello everyone, and welcome to Smart City Kids and Ressa Speech's Power of Play workshop. My name is Erica Papier, and I'm the Director of Business Development at Smart City Kids. I'm also the parent of a rising 5th grade boy and 9th grade girl, so don't blink or your kids will be that big already. We are really appreciative that you took time out of your busy day to join us for this workshop. I promise you will find the session to be tremendously informative, and you will leave with new tools for your parenting toolbox. I want to briefly introduce Smart City Kids so you know the extent of the services we provide for parents, students, corporations, and schools. For over 20 years, Smart City Kids educational consultants have guided parents and students through the admissions process for entrance into all grade levels, starting in nursery school and continuing all the way through college admissions, including boarding school and special education. We work with families throughout the New York area, as well as across the globe for families who are relocating. Smart City Kids also has clients that are schools and corporations, and we provide guidance about parenting, education, admissions, and relocation. Our advisors offer parenting sessions where we help parents navigate issues they are struggling with. Maybe this is something people attending today could possibly take advantage of. We also have an extraordinary group of highly experienced tutors who support students of any age and ability with subject work, executive function, and test preparation. And last but not least, Smart City Kids offers over 50 workshops a year, and we hope that you will continue to attend our sessions. So I'm very excited to announce our speaker today, Kathryn Ressa, also known as Kat. Kat is a speech-language pathologist, a parent-child educator, a pediatric feeding specialist, and the founder of Ressa Speech. Her experiences in education range from running language-based playgroups in a school setting, working as a one-on-one clinician with children birth through adolescence, to educating and empowering parents on all things childhood development. So before I turn the floor over to Kat, I just wanted to share 2 promotions that we are pleased to offer the parents who attend the session today. One is Smart City Kids is pleased to offer 15% off of a package of 4 tutoring sessions, depending on how old your little one is, or 4 parenting sessions, if that is more appropriate. And Kat is also offering 15% off a package of 5 parent trainings for speech and language concerns, or 15% off a package of 5 individual speech therapy sessions. So you can reach out to either one of us for further information. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Kat, I'm going to turn the floor over to you to start the presentation. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, Erica. All right, let's get right into it. Hi, everyone. I'm Kat, and I'm a pediatric speech pathologist, and I'm here to share with you today. And I'm here to share with you today all about play and how to target language through play. Okay. So we'll go through some questions and go into the background and then talk about how language and play are connected. And then we'll talk all things toys and engaging, and then we'll have some time for questions. So why do we play? What are the ages and stages of play? How are language and play connected? And why do we work on language through play? And then how to do it at home in a natural and meaningful, engaging way. Okay, so why play? So play is actually a human right for children. So play creates a window of opportunity for us as parents, caregivers, educators to understand who your child is, what they think about the world, and where they are at developmentally. So it's all a part of normal development. And I would argue the most important part of development early on. So early on, play is all about trying to figure out how the world works. So, and if you want to be able to play, you need to feel safe and secure in your attachment with your caregivers. And remember, play is all about forming a bond early on. Okay, so play and language are interconnected, but how exactly? So if you want to have communication skills, you must be able to have some kind of representational thinking skills. So you need those symbolic representation skills. So playing, like handing a toy to someone, that's a kind of communication even before language develops. You may not be using language, but you are communicating. So again, play is a back and forth exchange, just like communication. So establishing eye contact and looking away, smiling, making sounds and reacting. Those are all kinds of play from early on. Again, just like communication, it's this reciprocal exchange. So way before your child is able to speak or make sounds, they are paying attention to everything that you do and will use that as the base for developing their communication skills. So they will start to intentionally communicate by using gestures, body language, and sounds. And this is all can be targeted in a play-based manner. Okay, so now we're going to go into the stages of play. So this was developed back in the early 1930s, and it starts at birth and goes on through ages 4 and up. And basically, as play develops, your language develops too, simultaneously. So first things first, if you want to facilitate play, you need to make sure that the environment is safe for a child or baby. So you just want to make sure that nothing sharp is around, they're able to move freely, and you want to see what is just enough in terms of stimulation and what is too much. So you need to assess based on your individual child. If putting them in front of the window while it's raining or snowing outside is stimulating enough for them to look, then that's great. But if that's too much, then maybe include a mirror. And as the younger you are, the more messy play is. So I always like to say the bigger the mess, the more fun for those little ones. So the first stage of play is called unoccupied play. So it may not even look like play. It's considered play in the youngest of children. So to facilitate this, you just really need to put your baby on a safe place on the floor, grab a mat, and give them room to explore and move. And typically the baby's first toys are their hands. You know, they're learning how to bring them together, crossing midline. So examples of this, you want to be able to put your baby in a position to find their hands. So try not to have something hanging over their head during all the time during playtime. So activity gyms, these mats are all great opportunities for your child to notice their surroundings and their own hands. You can also add in some sensory toys. So whether it's visually with bright colors or sound, for very young children, I always suggest using black and white because it's easier for them to see the contrast between the two colors. My favorite toys at this age are play mats and mirrors. So tummy time is a great example of unoccupied play. This right here is a play mat, and this is the same one in both images, and it just shows how it can be changed. So you can kind of take it with you. I always say choose a mat or that's easy to clean and brightly colored, so it attracts the baby's attention. I like this mat particularly because it has all different tactile flaps there. So for the baby to feel and engage in. And again, you can you can take it with you as the baby becomes a toddler and change it into more of a tent. And then it has flaps. You can see in the back of the pink, it has flaps for you to input a mirror or these black and white cards. Some other toys I love for tummy time, something light up. So like this animal right here, it's a great way for them to want to crawl towards it. Or music. Here, you're tapping into that auditory system. A nice sensory book with all different feelings. Again, the touch, the tactile ends. And then this water mat. I love water play, and there's just something so irresistible about a play mat that's filled with water, and the baby pushes down and gets to see how the water moves, and also the bright colored animals on that. So in terms of picking out toys for tummy time or unoccupied play, it is, you can start it right away. You can start incorporating it right after birth. The recommendation is 3 to 5 minutes. Again, you just want to capture the baby's attention. So using contrasted colors, sound, touch, different things like that. Another one of my favorite toys at this stage is mirrors. The first thing when picking out a mirror, I will say, make sure it is not a glass mirror. And just for safety reasons. So your babies love faces, especially faces of familiar people, their parents, siblings. But they love to see the cause and effect too of a mirror. So as you change your face, your facial expression, so you can do this to target different pre-language skills. So before talking, by making different facial expressions, by touching head, nose, just modeling. You can do emotions, happy, scared, and you will get reactions, giggles, sounds. You can model different sounds. Babies, again, love to watch all different faces being made, how your mouth moves. You can, blink, you can smile really big, you can make crazy faces, and the baby is learning to tune into those social emotional skills at that point. At home, you can play different kinds of mirror games. You can play peekaboo with the baby. You can hold the baby in your lap and move the mirror. You can sing songs. You can do, head, mouth, nose, and ears. You can make anything up. You can even just get really close and then really far away. The more fun you're having while you're playing with your child, the more fun they'll be having too. So these are just some examples of mirrors I like. See how they're fabric covered. This one in the blue, and it's black and white. Again, that contrast. And these are propped up mirrors. So for younger infants, they can be using them during tummy time. You can also target social skills with if you have another child, you can have the sibling hold the mirror for them. So you're getting that joint and reciprocal play there. Okay, so let's move on to the next stage of play. The next stage of play is solitary play. So this starts at about 3 months and goes on to 2 years. So this stage of play is still completely unstructured, and your child is not showing any interest in other children or adults. And this is perfectly typical. They are playing on their own and learning how to explore and engage within their own environment. So they're also sustaining their attention for longer periods of time than you saw in unoccupied play. They're learning to recognize patterns, identify objects, problem solve. So this is a really crucial skill. So I always say you never want to try to rush your child to the next stage of play, because you really need a solid foundation in order to fully develop the next one. So if you want to facilitate different kinds of solitary play, so you can have the best toys, the best like presentation. You can have the best toys, but it's all about how you present them. So you don't want to do too much and you don't want to do too little. So there's no right answer because it's going to vary on your child. So I like to think of a play space as an environment to be cognitively challenging for the child's developmental, right? So I like to think of things that can fit inside one another, like a stacking cup or like blocks, things that fall down. You want to create an intentional space that's giving them a purpose and is not overwhelming. So just leaving too many things out is going to be overwhelming for your baby. So some toys that I love, these rubber blocks, they're called commies, and the smell of them, they smell so good. They're totally safe for teething too, which I really like, and they're really easy to grab onto, and a lot of babies do use it for teething. And on the like edges of it, they do have like patterns of like spirals or smooth to give input as the child teethes on it. They're easy to grab, and these are really fun to play with. I put the containers for toys because, again, I think having things organized is going to make it so much easier for you as a parent. This squish toy on the purple it's been around forever. It's super lightweight. It has elastics on it. The blue are elastics, and it makes it really easy for the baby to grab it, and those beads on it slide back and forth. So you can hold it and you can shake it, and it makes a sound like a rattle too. So you're learning cause and effect. You're lifting it up. You're visually tracking. These nesting cups, I love the colors. I love, you can pour with them. You can use them in the bath. You can figure out, again, what fits inside one another. You can lay them all out. You can present them in different ways. And then these balls, I like how they all have different like textures on them. You can roll it. You can feel it. Again, the colors are really great too. And then here are some more toys for more of like gross motor. So a tunnel is really great. You don't just have to use it for crawling. You can use it letting it pop up. You can incorporate a sibling in it, closing it and opening it. This big sensory ball in the blue here, these little balls fit inside of it. It's plushy feeling. So this is really fun for problem solving. This walker here for those older infants, when they're learning to stand, or if they're still sitting, they can play on the front. A push-pull toy is always great for the obvious pushing, pulling, cause effect. This one has shape sorters, and then the stones, the colored stones. I really like these, and I think this is something you can take with you for years. You can use it to sit on, you can use it to identify colors, then you can use it as an obstacle course. There's just so many ways to play with it. At this age, I also really like to use music. Music and language development are very closely tied. Music stimulates the brain, which is when it's ready for learning, and music and language actually share a neurological network. So you should start capitalizing off the benefits of music early on. And again, for these toys, I really like simple, right? So not one that's going to play where you push a button and it plays the sound. No, you want your child to understand that the cause and effect at this stage. So they hit the drum makes a sound, right? They have to do the action. They shake the rattle or and it makes a sound. So for all of these, just really simple. You can make your own instruments with like paper towel holders and sand. The opportunities are endless, and you can always make up songs. You don't have to use like pre-made songs. I feel like I'm always singing with the children I work with. And it's just a really good way for children to, the repetition and the rhythmicity behind music helps them understand it. I just want to remind you throughout this whole presentation that there will be a ton of recommendations here, but you are truly the greatest toy your child has. Your child loves to be with you more than any other toy. And when you're engaged in giving them your undivided attention, that is the most beneficial for their, not just language development, but overall development. Research shows actually the advantages of people games. It's easier for your child to focus on you and for you to focus on them. You don't have to switch your attention back and forth between an adult or a toy. And it's easier for them to learn in that meaningful context with you. When you're doing simple actions, songs, words, they're tuning into even the volume and pitch, and all the subtle ways that you're communicating. So don't feel like after this you have to go out and get all these different things. Just remember that your affect and engagement and time with your child or any caregiver is really the most valuable. So then again, we'll just talk about cause and effect toys. This can be used anything. You can really make anything a cause and effect toy, because turning a light switch on and off, turning the water on, there's really everything is a cause and effect toy. Here are just some examples. A pop tube, it makes a really fun sound. Dropping the balls down up this ball drop, it's great for visual tracking, and so on. Okay, so encouraging language during this time. You really want to follow your child's lead and see what they're intrinsically motivated to play with. And then you want to model, right? Talk about what they're doing. And you want to turn these everyday activities into opportunities for play. So if you're going to the store, you can, oh, we're going to the store. Okay, what do we need to get? Oh, can you go grab, shoot, just really your engagement. And if you are having fun, your child is most likely having fun too. So again, follow your child's lead. So what they're interested in, that's going to be the most meaningful for them to engage, and they're going to retain the most language. So how do you know that? You know that by watching your child, right? So I always say, wait, watch, and listen. As they're younger, you're not going to be listening as much, but see what they gravitate towards. Try different things out. Leave out maybe some stacking cups one day for an afternoon, and then see what they do, see how long they engage, what they do with it. Try some of those balls another day and see what your child likes and is interested in. And it's going to be constantly changing too. So it's like a science experiment almost. And then again, you don't need to go out and buy all of these new toys. I learned very quickly working with children that a child is going to want the object that is not the toy, because they're curious, and because you want to use things that resemble what the adults and older siblings and friends are using in everyday life. So here are some of my favorites. A salad spinner is super fun. It's kind of like a Jack in the Box. You can put colors in it. It makes noise as you do it. It's just super engaging. You can put water. You can just have so much fun. Dog bowls are amazing. Not only are they shiny and make a really fun sound for babies, but then the dumping and pouring water and seeing how water looks in the bowl versus on the ground. Put a garbage bag down if you're going to leave these out. I love these stacking bowls. I love the colors. Again, putting things in and out is really fun. And then these I call them kitchen blocks, these metal condiment containers. Again, make noise. You can fill things up with them, and you can bring them in the bath and they do not rust. When you're playing with your child and you don't really know what to do, I always say, when in doubt, model what's going on. You're singing, pour water, pour. You're going to think you're crazy because you're saying, a lot of times the same word over and over, and you're not getting a response. But your child has to understand language before they can use it, and learning it in context, right? Pouring water from a dog bowl and they're playing and engaged versus you saying, oh, pour, and showing them how you pour is very different. And then again, more things you can use from your kitchen. These are all, and these are, I like to use in the bath specifically. These are all great things to bring in the bath. During this water play, children are super engaged. It's a part of your routine. You can just, if you're having a long day and you need, an extra 15 minutes in the bath, try out some new toys that you already have in your kitchen. See what they do with them. I would introduce one at a time, and just have fun and see what they do. And especially now too, that the weather's nice, try these outside. These are some other bath toys I love. They're all just great. I love bath time. It's already a part of your routine. Water play is really motivating and engaging. The child's super regulated usually during it because of all the sensory systems intact. So we'll move on to sensory play. Again, everything, I think a lot of things, not everything, is sensory play. Sound, touch, taste, smell, like big movements. So this is really important at this time because your child needs to learn how to communicate through what they're feeling and what they're experiencing in the moment. So a lot of this happens during sensory play. Here are just some examples. These are mostly tactile or touch. So you can see here's the salad spinner I spoke about. You can put different things in it. Finger painting is great. Swinging is vestibular sensory play. So if you go to a park, just putting out raw pasta, beans, these are all great to do. So you have rolling around is vestibular and swinging. And it really any kind of sensory play teaches the children how to be problem solvers, and how to interpret all these different feelings that they're getting at the time. And then books are amazing. And I always tell parents, you do not have to read all the words on the pages. It's going to be boring and it's going to be repetitive if you do. So why don't you try doing different things? If you're reading a book with animals, you can just make animal sounds maybe one day, or you can use action words instead of labeling the nouns. These are also great to incorporate into your routine. Again, the repetitiveness, similar to music, children really enjoy that, enjoy knowing what to expect. There's so many different board books, pop-up books, textures, and these, you can take with you forever. And then I always like to say, if you're holding your child in your lap, that's a great way to start. But then you may want to think about putting yourself across from the child, because then the child is able to look at your face and see all your nonverbal communications. So all your different facial expressions, reactions, and then you're going to be promoting more of those social skills like turn taking, joint attention, all great things. These are just some of my favorites. I mean, there are so many. And again, see all the different ways you can read a book. Make it a challenge for yourself. Again, music and singing songs. You can sing them as you usually know, or you can make up your own words. You can have transition songs. Again, you can pair actions with songs. There's so much you can do. You can do turn taking. There's just, the opportunities are endless. Here are some of my favorites. I think every child I work with and parent, I have a horrible singing voice and I just have to embrace it. And I'm sure they don't love it. I don't love it, but you know what? Your child loves it. And their reactions to some of these big grand gestures as you're singing and you're stopping the music and pausing and waiting. Music is just like a cornerstone of my clinical practice. And in a 45-minute session with a toddler, sometimes I'll use music for 15, 20 minutes. I like to make up songs too. These are just examples. So if we're getting dressed, this is the way we put on our shirt, we put on our shirt, we put on our shirt. This is the way we put on our shirt. We get dressed every day. I have a song for literally everything. I come up with most of them on the spot. And I just kind of take any familiar tune. All right, so now on to the third stage of play. This is starting at about toddler, so it's called Onlooker or Spectator play. So again, your child is not playing with someone yet. They're watching others play. They may make comments about play, but they do not make any attempt to join the play. They're learning a lot of social skills at this time. So they're learning different social cues. They're learning problem solving skills, and they're developing the confidence to then physically bring their bodies closer to play. So at this time, a lot of parents may ask, why should I have play dates or play groups? Or join a play group, but it gives them the opportunity to be a spectator and watch how the sport of play is being done, right? So you can't just expect your child to one day go in and play. They need to learn how to play. And this is really that stage of learning how to play and how to support your child. Don't push them, right? Have them go to these play dates or play groups, or take them to the park or the library. You can comment on what other children are doing. You need to trust your child and let them experience all these different play schemas. And again, try out different things. Have them maybe go for a walk, go to a different park. Just varying it is great too. So the fourth stage of play is called parallel play. So the child is still playing alone, but physically, they're closer to the other child. There's no interaction. They're almost ready to play, but they're playing next to them. So that physical distance is closing. And you see this usually from 2 to 3 years old. And this is showing when your child is bringing their body closer in the physical proximity that they're on their way towards social interaction. So this is what it could look like. It can look like building 2 completely separate towers, right? There's no sharing of toys. There's no handing it to each other. There's no communication between each other. It can be coloring 2 different things at the table or engaging in 2 different sensory tactile bins. Play-Doh is another great one. You can do your own thing. These are all great opportunities for parallel play. And then different toys that support parallel play. Any kind of blocks really too, or magnetiles. I like this easel because you can have on both sides, someone like one child can be on either side. A kitchen, maybe someone's cooking something, the other's doing the dishes. So many times if you leave children in these more pretend play schemas like the kitchen, cleaning, dolls, and they're at that parallel play stage, they have their complete own agendas, but they're parallel playing. And that's really important that they develop this at this point, because they need to be able to be physically close and then to have the interaction. So here are just some more toys. Again, during this, you can model language, always model, and you can start introducing like new vocabulary as the play schemas are getting more complex. So you can start using more descriptive. Oh, this one's bumpy. This one feels smooth. Oh, this Lego's tiny. All of those kind of things. So there's so many benefits of all different kinds of play, but for parallel play, you'll start seeing imitation, right? They'll start imitating peers' play schemas, right? Because they're right there to see. Or they may even start imitating words that they're hearing. They're subconsciously picking up on all things that the other child is doing. So right here, why parallel play? So many people ask. Kids like being around other kids, but they don't know how to like insert themselves and ask how to engage or to play with them. And you may feel awkward sometimes if you see a child on a play date and they're ignoring the other one, but they're learning and they're getting ready to engage in this next stage of play, which is associative play. So children are engaging in the same activity. It's completely unorganized. It has no goal. They're not really communicating. They're kind of handing each other things. This is the start of social interaction. They're taking interest in what the child is doing, but there's not really direct interaction. They're not pairing language with handing something to someone. They're sharing things, but there's no end goal in sight. They start to communicate here. So this is really important. They'll need to do more of nonverbal communication in order to take turns and share. And then this will lead them to the next for the social skills and language to get ready for the last stage of play. This stage is really laying the groundwork of how to get along with others and how to share space and items and problem solve. So again, associative play is great for social skills and anytime they're around other kids. Parallel play and associative play, what's the difference? You'll see a shift from parallel play to associative play. You'll see that the children will be interacting, handing things to each other. They won't just be completely doing their own play schemas. The toys look similar, but you're building it together. Maybe you're building together, or someone's handing a food to another person and they're putting it in the shopping cart, like an assembly line. And then the last stage of play is cooperative play. So here it's the final stage, and it's representing your child's ability to collaborate, connect, and cooperate with a common goal. Children are going to be communicating during this play. They're going to need to insert themselves, right? To explain what they need and want. They want to be heard. If they're not going to be communicating or advocating for themselves, their play is not going to be as fun. So they're doing a lot of problem solving here. This is also a huge part of going to school and being in a bigger classroom, because being able to participate in cooperative play is getting your child ready to engage in all different social situations, like classrooms, sports, family events. You can support cooperative play by creating a dance routine where they have to do the dance routine together. I love dancing for the emotional, expressing emotions. In that way, you can also do things like play pretend with dress up. It's really great for pretend play. You have to share, negotiate. You can do a puzzle, right? You need that piece, but the other child has it. You can play board games, simple board games. Be sure as a parent or caregiver to be modeling good sportsmanship. If you are playing a game, or if you're playing dress up where you don't get what you want. You need to show them what's expected and appropriate during these social interactions. They're going to be watching you the whole time. And they're going to be looking at your reaction too. So if you lose, right, and you have this, like, you can show them, I'm upset, but take a deep breath, show them how you work through that. And also this time is helping your child develop empathy and perspective take about others. So this one really goes on from 4 years through life. We're all cooperatively playing. Just some more things. I like a theater, or having to put on a show together, similar with dancing, building a fort, sequencing that, having a cash register, a store, going on a picnic. Where are we going to go? What are we going to bring? And then just preschool and beyond. Again, you can turn everyday opportunities into language, opportunities for language, a lot of pretend play. I do have some big ticket items that I love and I think are worth it, that go with you for all ages and stages of play. Like one of these climbers is really great. You can use it for infants. You can use it as they get bigger. You can use it in different ways. It promotes all different kinds of, not just gross motor and fine motor, but social, problem solving, spatial relationships. This wobble board for balance, you can use it in an obstacle course. You can use it in pretend play. You can put your baby on it and pretend it's sleeping. So these are all some things I think that are really great if you have the space, really challenging in New York City. And if you have the means, there's just so many different ways you can play. And I challenge all parents and caregivers to try to play differently with your child. Try to see if you can play with a toy, not for its intended way. And then I'll leave you guys with a quote. So play is the universal language of a child. It's through play that children understand one another and make sense of the world around them. And we never stop playing. I think it's really important that you really have fun and stay engaged and enjoy your child as much as they enjoy you. All
That
right.
That was tremendously informative. Thank you so, so much. And as someone with older kids, I was doing a lot of smiling and nodding, even though you couldn't see me doing it. A quick funny anecdote, when you said you were making up songs that you do on a daily basis, and my daughter is going to be 14 in a few weeks. I just found out from her that a song that I made up when she was little, she thought it was the real words. I made up a song to Simon and Garfunkel. So the feeling groovy, I will spare you all, I won't sing, but I made up a song about eating. Slow down, don't eat too fast. You have to make your whole meal last. And just recently I played it for her and she was really cracking up that it was
She
not
had
the
no
real
idea.
yeah, so I couldn't agree with you more. You know, you feel silly when you're doing it, but if you narrate what your child is doing and make up songs about everything and anything that happens throughout the day, it really works. It's a great tool.
Thank you. I'm so funny. Your older daughter still remembers.
Yeah, she does. She does miraculously. So, questions. People can feel free to put questions. I'm sure everyone is processing all the wonderful information that you shared. That was very, very thorough. And you got a lot in about the stages of play in a short period of time. That was very impressive. Okay, one question that popped up. What if my child is throwing toys or just not being cooperative during playtime? What should parents do? What's your suggestion?
Yeah. So a lot of times I think play gives the opportunity for a child to test their boundaries. And I think this is developmentally appropriate, right? What do I do with this toy? What happens if I throw it? If I put it in my mouth? I think it would be funny actually if your child didn't do that. I think it's really good. And I think just letting them know that like they can like that what they're doing has an effect, right? So like if they're doing it for a cause and effect reason, they want to learn and it's safe, that's one thing. And also you need to take into account where they are age wise. But showing like, oh, that was silly, picking it up and bringing it back. And then you also want to narrate the experience. So like if it hits someone, right? Saying like, oh, that hurts. I don't throw at people. So you kind of have to take it in the environment it's in. If it's an infant or, a 1-year-old just kind of like throwing things around, then, make sure they're in a safe environment. But if it's a toddler throwing it at another child, then you want to go more towards the problem solving and showing how to navigate the conflict, saying, I won't let you hurt, your sister. That's not safe. We don't play that way.
Okay, next question. How do you help language development for a multilingual baby? Having one parent speak one language doesn't always work, as we have to speak English anyway with other people who are present, and I'm worried it is too confusing. That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So if your child is bilingual and they're learning 2 languages simultaneously, it's going to look different. Like they're going to have to learn how to code switch with like who's speaking what language too. And again, if you're speaking both languages, then it's adding another tier, right? It's mom speaks English and Mandarin versus, sometimes mom speaks one, dad speaks another. But I think just allowing your child extra time to process language, it may look like they're not taking it all in, but they really have to they're working twice, if not more, harder to understand first of all, what language is this? What's its meaning? And then, how do I interpret all of that myself? So I would say kind of using, I would, if you can, not just having one parent speak the one language. If you guys both speak both languages, presenting different things in different ways. So doing mealtime maybe in one language one day and then the next day in a different language. So it's more randomized too. So they're not compartmentalizing as much.
That's great. I know you could probably give a whole talk on bilingual speech.
They're going to be so much better off in the end. So
it is a gift for sure.
Yeah. So
okay, another question. My 14-month-old is very interested in flashcards and books. Those are the first two items she gravitates to in a room. Should we try to redirect her attention, or is this common? She enjoys both being read to and looking at her own books.
I think there's something about books, again, like the predictability and being able to like manipulate it yourself. And flashcards too, what's expected, especially if it's the same flashcards. I would just try to not vary it. Maybe, take some, add a new book, take away some of the more familiar ones, right? I'm not saying go rogue and take everything away, because then your child's going to lose their sense of control and, it's going to be scary for them, but, try a different one, or read it a different way, or don't read it at all. Just look through it, make sounds, make noises. Similar with flashcards, present different ones, maybe turn it into hide and seek, or have them have to try to go and get it from a different height. Just use it in a different way than your child's intending to use it, and seeing how they react.
Okay, I think we have time for one or two more questions. Let's see. What if my child is shy or slow to warm up in novel settings? That's a common question, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I think that's totally, it's your child and their temperament. And I'll never label a child as shy. I'll never say, oh, you're shy. Rather, I'll say what they can do, right? Oh, you can play with this, you can go over there. But really having your child know that you love and accept them for who they are, and giving them all the opportunities to build their self-confidence and assert themselves, by noticing their interests, saying, oh, I love how you play with X. They're going to be taking it all in. And you just don't want to label them or say they're shy, they're not going to do it, and just write it off as that. But acceptance.
Okay. So I think we are just about out of time, and I think that covered the questions that were posed. So I just want to say thank you again, Kat, for this amazing session. You're super knowledgeable, and that was so informative. And I hope that the parents who joined us today walked away with some new knowledge and new information and new tools for their parenting play box. So Ressa Speech, Smart City Kids, we are here to support you in your parenting journey. So please reach out. Don't hesitate if we can ever be of any further support. Thank you so much for coming. And thanks again to Kat. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.